everybody. Welcome to the Not Your Asian Women podcast. I'm Christine Chang.
I'm Shining.
And today we're going to talk about how to have a healthy fight, healthy confrontation, how to manage your emotions. This is an important life skill to have. It's something I actually was not taught. I think unless you're lucky and your parents are therapists or something, all you would know is what you see. And so for my parents, they fought, they yelled. It just wasn't healthy. So as an adult, I sought that out. Like how do I have healthy conflicts? And I still am learning because I can tend to be avoidant. I avoid things, or it's extreme. It's either just like there's not much middle ground for me. And to build a good relationship, there's gray area in these kind of intimate relationships. So I'm learning to be more patient, more accepting that people are different, forgiving. That's a hard one for me, being forgiving. And this comes at good timing because last night, we didn't fight, but we had a text conversation. I told Shining that I wanted to talk about and have good, clear communication about our podcast. With life, I feel like clarity never hurts, right? You want to make sure two people are on the same page. So some backstory. So basically, we started this podcast because we have a similar interest, right?
Yes.
Like being funny. I mean, you do stand-up comedy. You like to talk. I like to host a podcast.
Yes.
And I have an interest in being in entertainment. And to be honest, I don't know where this is going to go. I just know it feels like the next step, whatever that means. However, what came up yesterday for me was the way that I approach, if anything's work related to me, I need kind of structure and clarity around it. Like, what is everyone's roles here? Because if things kind of like get mumbo jumboed up, because I value my time a lot, I'm like, okay, what are we doing? Am I going to sign up for this? What would you say your approach is?
More like just free flow.
Yes.
And in the moment.
Yes.
Yeah. Like if I have multiple things or people I like to talk to, I just say stuff.
Yes.
And I think because my dad is kind of like that. Like growing up, he's always like free flowing, spontaneous, and then he always makes plan at last minute and then change plans. So yeah, something like that. It pisses everybody off. And then, but sometimes I do that too, and then it catches me later, and I'm glad I have that self-awareness, and that's something like I don't think my dad has.
Well, it comes off as sometimes like it can come off as inconsiderate, and I get most people, their intention's not bad, right? But also I'm also learning to be less rigid, but like the initial, okay, so what happened was Shining was like, she changed the schedule basically, right? She's like, okay, I got to leave early now. And I'm like, we already paid for the podcast studio for these hours. She's like, oh, I can have like a filler come in, or like, how about there's three of us? And then for me, I was like, hold on. I'm like, I said, when it's good for you, can you hop on the phone? I'd love to talk and make sure we're on the same page regarding this. So I sat there and I was having lunch and I was just like, okay, I need to get clarity of what do I need? What do I want here? Because the initial feeling that I got was like anger and annoyance, but I knew it was me. Like what is it in me that I'm, and I was careful not to push that on you. And so I was like, okay, let me get clear. And then I'm going to send her a text. And then I think it's better if we talk on the phone. I think texting when you're having those kind of conversations is not the best way to do it. I think in person or on the phone is better. And you're a great communicator too. So I was just straight. And it's funny because when I was texting, because I've done a lot of like personal growth and therapy too, I was wondering, I'm like, am I being like Jonah Hill right now? Like, am I weaponizing, or like gaslighting her or something right now? I was really careful. But I just said like, hey, can we talk? I just want to make sure we're on the same page. And we've known each other for just over a year. And, it takes a while to get to know someone. And these things come up. Like, how would you know that I that this kind of structure is important to me unless I say so, you know? And to me, it's everyone's needs are valid. And that's all you can do is communicate what's on your mind. And to do that eloquently and skillfully is the difference, I think, because I think it would have been different. Just say I was triggered, like, and I'm 25 years old. I'm thinking back when I was 25. I probably would have like gotten mad and pushed my emotions on you, you know, like, why would you do that? You know, like, duh. But it's not about that. So basically, Shining just, you know, you had a comedy. She finished her set, and then you're like, you
Talk
called
about it. Yeah.
And the first thing you said, she's like, I owe you an apology. It was really cute.
Because I can, in the moment, I wasn't even thinking, oh shit, like, maybe you don't operate the same way I do. And then also we did make a plan. This is what our plan is. And then, because something else came up, and then, I wanted to do that, but I also don't want to waste this time. So I'm like, let me figure out a solution. In my mind, is like, this is perfect. You know, everybody wins. But I didn't even communicate that with you. And then after I finished my stuff and I had time to kind of think about the whole situation, I'm pretty good at removing myself. It's almost like seeing it in a different angle, and then try to see other people's perspective, and then I can recall the moments that other people had changed plan on me in last minute and how fucking annoying I get. And then so I get, oh shit, like it's obviously, even if you did kind of expressed your anger, I would understand.
Yeah, you're good at that. See, I'm not good at that. If someone pushes their anger on me, unless it's a little kid, then I understand a little more because they don't have a prefrontal cortex, right? But as an adult, I think I need to learn to take that less personal, or just have more tolerance for it, that everyone has their moments.
Yeah.
I try really hard not to do that to people because I know how it could feel on the receiving end too. Sometimes I'm like, people don't deserve that. If I'm aware of it, I'm going to try not to do that.
Yeah. There are definitely moments I'm not seeing, and then people get upset, and I try to. So the thing is, we all have those moments where like just kind of lash out and then get angry and say words that we don't mean. But this is something I learned from my husband. Whenever we fight, obviously he feels right from his perspective. But I guess as a man in the situation, most of the time he goes, do I want to win, or do I want to have a happy marriage? And I'd say like maybe most of the time he's the bigger person. He put his like ego down, and then tried to understand me, and then let me lash out, because I don't have a healthy upbringing, and I'm still on the journey of healing and manage my emotions, and then have a healthy fight. And then he don't hold that against me, because everybody has a different journey. And then he's pretty mature, emotionally stable. So he sees me as, oh, this is my life partner. And then she's going through like healing process. So let's give her the space to process that. And then he believes that I will come around. So I'm a lot better now. I don't, because I in the past I would say the meanest shit.
What's an example of something you would say?
Really? This sounds racist as a motherfucker. I would like to say like, you're fucking white trash. You're trailer trash. You should be glad I brought you here. You should be happy you met me, motherfucker. I would say like just the meanest shit. Attack him, attack where he's from and how he was brought up. And Because I would just say, words just came out of my mouth. I would just, like, the moment I just wanted to hurt him, say anything to hurt him. Because that's how, that's how, like, I see when I was growing up, and then that's how my family fought. And then especially my dad, he just knows the not right. He just knows the thing to say to make the whole fucking family, like, lights everybody on fire. Like, every time we have like a family gathering, festival, New Year's, whatever, he just has that magic. He says something like everybody's like upset. And I've literally seen like everybody's fight, and then a dinner table, and just like fucking flip the whole fucking dinner table with everything on it.
He did?
Food. It just him and my aunt.
Damn.
He does that more.
Okay.
And he would like break stuff and then just like punch wall, or like he has very short temper. And it's very like I didn't feel safe. I didn't know when he was gonna explode.
Right.
So that carries on to your adulthood and how you manage your emotions or how to deal with angers. I didn't have role model growing up. So and then I see, the thing is, my dad is a very nice guy to everybody else but his family. Like, I've seen him interact with his business partners, his friends, people at work. He's very patient, very nice, very kind. Everybody has good things to say about him. But he's a different person at home.
But that's the real him then.
Your
family triggers you the most. That's why with anyone who like says they're enlightened or whatever, I'm like, how are you with your family? Because that actually shows how enlightened you are.
Yeah. And then he would yell at my mother, and then I've never seen him hit my mother. And then where was I going? So I didn't have a role model growing up, and then seeing how to deal with anger. And then the thing he says is, whenever we get like we want to talk with him, like, you can't do this, it hurts us. And one time he cried. He said, I have so much pressure, I have so much stress, I'm providing for the whole family, and then you're my wife, you're my daughter, you're supposed to take my anger. Where the fuck, where else can I express myself? This is how that's how I deal with pressure. And then he would like just throw this tantrum. And then it makes us feel like we're not doing enough as family. So like there are moments, so now as an adult, there are moments and like my emotions just fluctuate, and then sometimes I do catch myself, because I treat my husband poorly too sometimes when I'm not in a good mood, or like stress, and I don't know how to deal with that. So I would subconsciously kind of just model after my dad, and then because I know he's not going anywhere.
Right.
So I take that for granted.
Exactly. That is very common for people to do. Do you listen to Esther Perel? Do you know her? She's a psychotherapist. Oh, she's great. But she says that, if you just treated your partner like you treated people at work, but we don't, because there is that safety, right? And it's really, especially if you have a sweet partner. Like, for me, I have to catch myself more than Pete does. He calls me out sometimes, but I think he's just so tolerant, or he just like knows it's not personal. But I told him, I'm like, I would actually like if you did call me out in the moment. I just don't want to be a dick.
Yeah.
No, if I can help it. I don't want to have a negative impact on you if I'm aware of it.
Yeah, for sure. And then these days, since I'm better at recognizing my emotions, I have a long way to go to manage them. When I feel there's something like annoying, I don't know what's going on. Sometimes one of these days you wake up and you decide that you want to pick violence. warned him. I said, I don't know what's going on. If I act like a cunt, don't take it personally. It's not you. Nothing you did wrong. This coming couple of days, I might be just acting like this. I need time to process and then figure out what the fuck is really wrong, the root of it. But leave me alone and don't take it personally. So when I warn him, that's better.
It's better. Same. My thing is, which Pete obviously didn't know because he's not a mind reader. If I am working like on the computer and focusing on something, I don't like to be interrupted. I'm in the zone. And so my response typically would be annoyance, like you're interrupting me. And I had to tell them, I'm like, hey, if I am on my computer, typically like I'll totally talk to you once I finish posting or finish editing whatever I'm doing, finishing the email. But I'm like, if it's really important, of course, yes, you're more important than the work that I'm doing. But if it's not important, like he'll just be like, hi, babe. And I'll be like so annoyed. I'm like, I told you, don't talk to me. But he knows now because he doesn't have that. He's so, even if he's in the middle of work, I'm like, hey, babe. He always like turns around and it's fine. And then we're just different. So he says, oh, okay, now I know like if you're working on your computer, unless it's really important, like I can wait. So yeah, I think that's the fair thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. So anyone that can relate with us, I think the first thing is try not to take the person that loves you the most for granted, because that hurts. Yeah. You know they're not leaving, right. So you say the meanest shit, and then it's not, even if it's your parents, right? Yeah, your life partner, your kids.
You know what I think? I always think like, what if this person died? How would I feel about how I spoke to them, showed up with them? And of course we're human and we're imperfect and like we have moments, but that really helps me show up in a way. It kind of just snaps me back into place. Like with my mom, I get super triggered when I talk to her sometimes, but especially seeing them get older, I'm like, sometimes I have to tell myself like, be nice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Be nice. Pick up the phone.
Yeah, exactly. Like with us, like rebuilding relationship with our parents, and it's now that we're older, we can see their perspective and understand, they came in this country. For you, they worked really, really hard, and they have generational trauma too. It's easier to kind of I'd say not forgive.
Empathize?
Yeah, empathize with them and understand they're trying, they're doing their best. And then, like you said, I do think about that too. They're a lot older now. And like how many times am I going to see them? Like you're literally just counting down the time, especially for me. My parents live in China and I don't go back visit often. We do FaceTime a lot. That's not the same. And I think about, if something were to happen to them, does this argument even mean, it doesn't mean anything. Like, do I want to win? Do I want to make them feel bad? Do I want to make them just hold them down and then make them apologize or act the way I want them to? And that's on the grand scheme. It doesn't matter. It matters that in this moment, if something they said triggered me, I just hold my breath and then think of something else. And I don't want to engage with that conversation. I just nod and like, okay. And then I try to find something else that we can all agree on and talk about. Or like gossip, like who's in the family and like just got divorced again, who's cheating, whose kids is fucking up again. That's my favorite topic because the motherfucking kids that they try to compare me to.
Oh, yeah.
When I was growing up, they're all fucking it up now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and then this is funny because when my parents I am one of the first kids that got sent here in America, and then later on, there are other kids, my cousins and my family got sent here too, but they couldn't finish school. They didn't like it. They just went back. Most of my family and family members or friends, family friends, kids, most of them just went back to China. And then my dad, like a few years back, and then he was like, "Huh, I never thought about that. You know, you had courage. You stayed." I'm like, "Damn."
Oh my God, he complimented me.
Yeah, it took that long for him to understand that. Just so this is I just recently learned. This is like the for like kids like me that got sent here is called parachute kids. So a lot of Chinese family will send their kids in America. They might have like a host family, or they just straight up go to the college or living with friends in a college dorm or international college dorm or something like that. And yeah, it's called parachute kids. It's literally like I don't know. Strap your kids in a fucking airplane and drop it off. It's a different, because fob describes older generations,
fresh off the boat,
off the boats, yeah, and refugees, type of immigrants. Now, for my generations, there's like a wave of wealthy Chinese families. They sent their kids here as little as a middle school, high school, college.
Should it be more like private jet drop-off?
Well, yeah, a lot richer people, like like a CCP for kids or something like that, maybe. But yeah, so it's called like a parachute kids. Anyways, and then he didn't think it was that difficult. Because when I was at my hardest, because I didn't know a word of English, I had to learn everything on my own. And
you speak very well.
I would know about well.
No, you do. You're a writer. You know how to write. You know how to hook. That, I mean, for English not being your first language, I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I have a bit about that. I fucked my way to bilingual. Anyways, yeah. So, when I complained to him before, he would say stuff like, "What the fuck is so hard? Did we not give you money? Like, look at the kids that don't have a penny. They made it. Look at look at those generations, and they have like a five." This is something like they always say.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, such and such had $5 in their pocket and they made it in America and now they have multiple businesses. Why can't you be like that? Like, what the fuck are you complaining? There are people who have less than you. And so that's the thing, like when it's another thing, like growing up, when I voice my feelings, they always make me feel bad.
It's not received well. Yeah, same.
So yeah, so it for the longest time, I became a people pleaser, and I fucking hated confrontation, arguments, and I would just take all in and not voice my opinion, because that's just how it was. Like whenever I did, I was wrong. So automatically I felt everything I feel is wrong. So that took a long time for me to like heal from that and understand, oh, everybody's emotions are valid, and then everybody's perspective, and then how can we work over that and then have a healthy argument. That's more important. And then don't take things personally, and then just be like voice your intentions. And most people are nice. They get and then say, oh, okay, that's how you feel. Oh, that's how I feel. Yeah, I apologize. Okay, let's work on that, and then how can we move forward from that?
Yes.
So
That's how you build intimacy, is you
Yeah.
have to be okay with confrontation and being vulnerable.
exactly.
I was going to say, I learned something from my therapist recently, which I didn't know there was a name for. I think it's called the honeypot method. Do you know that? Because I told her that
That sounds like a Russian coup.
well, I said I want to learn to be honest better without offending people. Because I think I'm a pretty honest person, but I think sometimes it can come off as criticism, which I mean, I hated being criticized as a kid. So I'm like, okay, I want to try not to do that to people. And I was like, okay, can you give me an example of like, how do I say this while also sharing my values, you know? And she's like, okay, well, the honeypot method is basically you say something on the more positive side first, whether it's a compliment or something like that. That's the sweet. And then you can pull it back around and share your values. For example, if you have a friend who likes to go to the club and dance on tables, you know, and is more free in that way than you, and you just like don't like it, and you don't say anything, you start to get annoyed, like, do I want to hang out with this person or not? You know, she's like, first you have to empathize. So you think like, what's the positive here? You know, like takes a lot of bravery to do something like that. So you could say something like, wow, you're so brave to do that, or free or open. For me, I could never do that. Something like that. So you're also sharing your value and, you know, where you stand with it so that they know. But then also it's not like, oh, why are you doing that? Like you're embarrassing me or whatever, you know, and also using more I statements. I feel instead of, you know, the you. And I noticed that it's hard for me to say that, especially if it involves how I feel. Like I felt hurt when just because growing up with my parents, like we didn't talk like that, you know? And then so when I was doing my exercises, I found it hard for me to say like I like to choose the safer descriptive word. Like I felt like unimportant instead of like I felt sad. I felt angry. So that's something I'm learning to do. But I think the honeypot method is definitely, that was really helpful for me because I think sometimes I could just be too direct. And if I can help it, I don't want to make someone feel criticized.
One of the ways I learned from therapy is almost like treating myself as a baby, like how I would exactly, like, you know, when you see a baby throwing tantrum, when you notice you're getting into emotional states, take a moment and then kind of, you know, rock yourself or hold your forehead a little bit, meditate, and then just tell yourself, like, treat yourself like a baby. It's like, everything's going to be okay.
Reparent yourself.
Yeah.
Like who did you need when you were a kid?
Exactly. And then be that and then show up for yourself like that. And then, you know, like how you wish you were raised when you're a baby, and then how to deal with emotions, and then how to be, you know, work over struggles. Because I used to just quit if things get too hard. And then now I have to kind of like baby myself, and then just little bit of progress, I go, good job.
Yes. Words of encouragement, something a lot of, I think, Asians have not experienced growing
Exactly.
up.
And then I would like take a moment to kind of celebrate the wins, and then tell myself I'm proud, because that's not something we heard.
I'm proud of you. I don't think I've ever heard those words from my parents.
Even if for the rare occasions I did good, and then they see that, they would say, okay, you did good, but don't get too
Confident.
Don't get too cocky.
Yes.
Yeah, and everything can be gone like that. What they're saying is correct, but when you're that young, you're like, why the fuck are you like? You know, like
Fun
you make
killer.
me feel exactly. There's one time I did good, and you're telling me don't feel good.
So funny.
So something like that, and yeah.
Can we
going-
talk about that? Did you hear about the Jonah Hill thing?
Oh yeah.
So if you haven't heard, Jonah Hill's ex-girlfriend leaked, or she shared some of their interactions when they were together. She screenshotted and shared it to her Instagram. And apparently, she claims he was emotion or verbally abusive or emotionally abusive, something like that. And I mean, regarding the text that I was sending you earlier, so basically, he's been to therapy a lot, and he used a lot of therapy language to express his boundaries. And the whole debate is whether he expressed his boundaries in a healthy way or not. So, what is your take on? Oh, we should probably give a little more backstory in case you know. So, she's a surfer, and when he first met her, he liked that she was a surfer, you know. And she screenshotted that he would respond with like the heart eye emojis to like her in a swimsuit surfing. And then after they became a couple, I guess he did not like that she would post pictures of her, you know, in her swimsuit and things like that. And she was saying like, I'm sorry, like I'm not a mind reader. I didn't know that you wanted that. And the way that he asked was basically like, okay, basically if you need to do this, post pictures and do this and do this, then I'm not the guy for you. Like it does not work. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, if he said it, I mean, as long just from what I've heard, I feel he's definitely had a lot of trauma, insecurity. I hear like a lot of insecurity. You know, good for him. He's working on that. And then he's not completely there yet. And then he feels that if a woman is with him in a committed relationship, he can't have her posting, I don't know, bikini photos, even though that's
Her job.
her job. And then also that's when you met her, that's how she is. She's not gonna, it's a hard situation because I see both perspectives. And at least he said, you know, if you can't do this and that, we can't be together. Then as for her, I don't know her situation, but I wouldn't have posted. I would be like, okay, bye-bye. Mm-hmm. You know, you ain't like the most looking guy either. Like the fuck? Like I'm with you for charity. Like I would have been like that. It's like, okay, there's plenty of dicks that don't mind me posting this. I'll just move on.
Yeah.
So definitely both parties, I think, have some shit that they need to deal with. Like Jonah, he's definitely, I mean, of course he has like so many problems and being in Hollywood and actor, and then he's openly talked about it, his weight and all that. And then his last documentary on Netflix was very well done. And then, I don't know, like just personal relationships is very hard to judge.
Yeah, because we don't know the backstory, you know, like if he didn't feel safe with her, what maybe there was infidelity. Like we don't know that,
yeah.
right?
We don't know her track record or his track record. But
Right. To fully judge just based on, you know, some texts. But I do think it's fair that everyone's allowed boundaries, but I think it's how you communicate it. How I read it was it came off more as you, like controlling. Mm-hmm. Like you did it instead of like, hey, I feel insecure with, or like, I don't feel comfortable, It was more like rules versus boundaries. But then also like her screenshotting and sharing with the world, like your personal, you know, text messages. I don't agree with that. Because another one came up this morning. There's a singer called BB Rex or something like that. Okay, so she shared something that her boyfriend, or I don't know if he's an ex now, said to her regarding her weight. and she has millions of followers, and I'm like, is this for everybody? And it wasn't abusive or anything, I was just like, why are you sharing? Like, no partner is going to feel safe with you if you're doing stuff like that. That should be, between the two of you.
Yeah,
That's how I feel.
agreed. If she felt some type of way, she should have communicated with him privately. And then if he doesn't want to work on his tone, or then, move on.
That's what I feel. I mean, there is a line if someone is actually hurting people, like raping, trafficking children or something. Okay. That's different.
Exactly. Jonah Hill needs to consult with Leonardo DiCaprio. Aren't they fucking best friends? Ain't no bitches that ever came up and said Leo did this and Leo did that.
Seriously, that's why they say, like, does Leo make them sign an NDA? He has to. He has to because no one has ever said anything.
Which is crazy. I'm sure he's fucking a freak. He makes women do all kinds of weird shit in the bedroom, I bet.
I actually heard, I mean, who knows what's true or not, but someone said that when he has sex, like he just lays there and he puts like earbuds in and music, like he kind of just like tunes out.
So yeah, I saw that episode. I think Kalila talked about it on Trashy Tuesday. Yeah, she has her friends that dated him or whatever. And yeah, like that sounds pretty believable. Like he just, like fucks bitches and with headphones and then dissociates. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then there's still women who want to fuck him.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so it's just, if Jonah Hill feels some type of way about the surfer, then move on to the next one. Yeah. I'm sure there are damaged bitches who would like to be controlled. It's, give and take. I'm sure he can find his soulmate like that.
I think I don't know. I think he's with someone. He just had a baby with someone. I don't know if they're together or not. But I just feel like with both partners, like, just move on. I don't think publicly sharing all that is necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, the way I look at it is like, how we make fun of, white people Yelp Asian restaurants and then just give like a 1 star. Like, don't go. Like, that's just how authentic Asian restaurants are like.
Yeah.
They don't treat you like, customers are God. They don't give a fuck. It's like, hey, that's the, it's the food and whatnot.
That's usually when the food is good.
Yeah.
I feel like is when they're kind of like assholes to you. Like, what do you want? It's a little dirty in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just, that's your experience. And then just... like yelping this publicly or, blast your privacy online and without talking to that person privately first.
That's an inconsiderate. Yeah. It's like if it's you and it's just your stuff, that's fine. But for other people, I actually had to learn that with Pete in social media because I don't mind posting on social media. And he's just not on it at all. He doesn't care. And at first I thought I was teasing him and I would make these funny Insta stories and he wouldn't really say anything. But really, if you like Google him, there's like one picture online of him when from his old job. Cause I Googled him when we first started dating. I was like, what is this guy?
As you should.
Like, but then I realized after a while, even though I viewed it as I'm teasing him, that he didn't ask for this. And it's disrespectful because I, as I'm building followers and things like that, like he's been recognized at his work before. He's like, someone came in and like waved to me and then they'll say like, I saw your husband at da-da-da. And I'm like, he's not asking for this. If I'm asking to be in the public eye or have fame, that affects me. But the people closest to me are not asking for that. So it's not fair of me to do that to them. Right. So I definitely, I've learned, to respect that like, I'll ask him now, sometimes I think it's a cute photo or I'm proud and I want to share. I'm like, is it okay if I share this? And I'm like, that's fine. But I didn't know that when we started and I just thought I was teasing him.
Yeah. With my husband too. He doesn't want his face to be on the internet at all. And there are many times I asked him, we can do like a couple Q&A and stuff like that. He's just said no.
No interest, right?
Yeah, I get upset in the beginning and now I feel like it's his feelings and valid too. Yeah. The thing between us is like, I guess the reason I can see both perspectives, Jonah Hill and then his surfer girlfriend, is I could be manipulative too.
Oh, I've totally gaslit people before.
Gaslight, and and then make my husband feel bad for how he feels. We've all done that. So just because he's a celebrity actor, he has so much money and fame. I mean, I'm sure like his problems are amplified too. So I mean, I give that benefit of doubt. Also, holler if you want to do a comedy. I'm sure like he's the surfer girl, she had valid reason too. Like why are you acting like this? That's how I am. And if you didn't like it, don't get with me in the first place, wasting my time.
No, seriously. I thought like whoever you choose to date, you're signing up unless they trick you about like who they are. This is what you're signing up for. You don't sign up for someone and all of a sudden be like, I don't want you to bartend anymore. Right? Like that's to me is not right.
Yeah. I've heard I've known people, guys that dated porn stars, and then they asked them to stop. But like, do you have enough money to support her to pick up another job? So just I guess in a relationship, you can't change the other person at all.
No, they have to want to change for themselves, actually.
Yeah, and then if you're insecure, work on yourself. I don't know. Don't fucking waste people's time.
I have a trigger with that. You know how important my time is, but like, I understand better now because I've had a lot of guys on my other podcast of like, a lot of them, they just don't know. Because sometimes I'm like, why are you going to drag on women? But they're actually still processing and they actually don't know and they're figuring out how they feel as they're doing this. Sometimes it dips into like when maybe they know they don't want to be this one, but they feel bad. We had that conversation yesterday. But I feel like some guys that are just, it's slower for them to process how they actually feel. And when they actually know how they feel, then maybe that's when they pull back. And then that added with like bad communication, because I've had that done to me. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, because I'm like, I know what I want. I'm looking for like a committed relationship. Like, what the fuck do you want? Like you say this, your words and actions don't match.
I don't know. That's their situation. I don't really care that much to judge. And the thing with like celebrity gossip, where some news like this, I look at more as entertaining.
It is. I feel bad though because online is brutal.
Brutal. Yeah.
I hope. Yeah. I mean, you just have to have really thick skin, I think, to be in the public eye.
Yeah. And then this things is hard for other people to judge. It's all
because you don't know. You really don't know them and their dynamics.
Yeah. Oh, I hope him well. I hope she's doing good. She can find other celebrities to date.